What's going on, Kyle? UFC 267. Let's get it.
We got a big week. We got a huge week for fights. It's one of the better cards I've ever seen the UFC have.
Yeah, they're really pulling out all the stops, except for making it start at fucking 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I don't get that.
That I was not thrilled with. But it's going to rain all day here, so got nothing else better to do. Might as well fucking 10:30.
Start drinking.
10:30 a.m.er.
It's the fights, babe. We're watching the world. Gotta watch the fights with beer.
Gotta watch the fights. A couple beer moses.
Yeah.
Get you rolling.
And it's the Russian invasion, too. Just about every fight has a Russian.
Yeah.
At least one. At least one.
Love to see that. Yeah. Russians and our girl Verna and Dan Hooker's back.
Oh, yeah. And I got the Duster.
Yes.
And I got the Duster going. The good luck Duster.
Yep. Had to change something now.
Had to change it. And then, there we go. We got the Duster going, and we're going to win some money this week.
Yep. All right. So, first fight on the card here. Tagir Ulanbekov minus 370 versus Alan Naciomento at plus 290. Let me pull up their DraftKings. So Naciomento is 6,800 and Ulanbekov is 9,400. So huge favorite to start the night off.
I think it's warranted.
Yes.
Tagir, he's a Russian. He trains with Coach Khabib.
Yes.
He's 30 years old, 12-1. And his one loss came to Zhalgas Zhalmagulov.
Zhalgas is a beast.
Back in 2018. He's only had one fight in the UFC, and it was against Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva's won his next two fights, both by KO, so that's looking like a pretty good win. And that was a war where we saw Tagir get his leg chewed up, but he just kept coming forward anyways. He lands a nice jab. He's strong as hell, uses it to get takedowns. He couldn't hold Bruno Silva down, but not many people can. And he's coming in against Naciomento, who's also 30. He's making his UFC debut. He fought in the Dana White Contender Series against Rullian Paiva and lost. He then took 3 years off, had a bunch of canceled fights, came back, beat a 5-4 fighter, and somehow got into the UFC. Not too sure why. Maybe just to get beat up by Tagir to start the night, start the Russian invasion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tagir's a heavy favorite, and for a good reason. I don't see him losing. I think he's a good parlay piece.
Definitely a good parlay piece. If you're looking to spend a ton of money up front on DraftKings, also worth a shot at 9,400. He's going to score you some points as well.
Oh, yeah. Especially if he can't hold Naciomento down like he couldn't Bruno Silva and just racks up a shit ton of takedowns.
Right. All right, next fight, Magomed Mustafa, plus 230, taking on Damir Izgulov, minus 280, the Kazakh. And on DraftKings, Izgulov is 8,700, and Magomed is 7,500.
And this is a tough fight to call.
Yeah. The Kazakh is a beast, though. Izgulov.
Oh, yeah. Damir Izgulov, he is a beast. He's 4-0 in the UFC, 23-1 overall. And he's kind of a frustrating fighter to watch just because he's so safe. He throws his jab, he gets takedowns. When he's on the ground, he doesn't look for the finish. He just looks to control you down there. In his last fight, we saw him get rocked. But getting rocked, he was super composed. He was in a tight guillotine. Never lost composure, never even looked in danger, really. Even though he was in the tight guillotine, he somehow didn't look like he was in danger. But he's fighting Magomed Mustafaev, who is like the opposite of Izgulov. He's like extremely explosive, throws as many spinning techniques as you can.
Wild, man.
Wild, exactly. He'll gas out. He doesn't care.
Right.
And what was interesting in his UFC career, he's fought 5 times in the UFC. He's lost twice. One was to Kevin Lee, which we saw him get out-grappled, which could definitely happen again against Izgulov. But against Brad Riddell, Riddell's a very good fighter. Riddell rocked Magomed early. And then we saw Magomed use his wrestling, and he got 8 takedowns against Brad Riddell. So that was pretty impressive. He has huge power. He throws everything with power. Like I said, he'll throw everything with power to the point of gassing out. The smart pick is Izgulov, just because style-wise he matches up pretty well, that safe style versus like a spinning style.
Yeah.
Right. But don't be shocked here if Mustafa wins. This is a closer fight than I think the line shows.
Yeah, definitely the value play is on Mustafa, although I'm not sure if he's going to be able to pull it off. He probably gets outscored. All right, next up we have Hu Yaozong at plus 190 against Andre Petrovsky. This is a tough one to call. Hu Yaozong is 3-2, and Petrovsky is only 6-2 as well. This is a little lower.
It is.
Fight.
And Hu Yaozong was 3-0 when he came into the UFC, and he's now 0-2, and he lost to Cyril Asker and Rashad Coulter. Not high level comp. Who actually used to fight at heavyweight before losing to Coulter. Then he dropped down to light heavyweight, lost there. Now he's dropping down again to 185 to fight Andre Petrovsky. He's not someone who I think is necessarily good. He'll be the bigger guy. I mean, he should be. Dropping 2 weight classes.
Yeah. He's right. He doesn't look that big.
No, he doesn't.
For 185. I don't know how this guy fought at heavyweight. And
fighting guys who he could beat. He felt like he could compete, you know? But now he came to the UFC and he felt the strength there. He's a striker, and Andre Petrovsky is a wrestler. Petrovsky lost on tough to Brian Battle. His other losses to Aaron Jeffrey, so really not horrible losses. But one thing I hate about Petrovsky is I don't think he's tough. He's one of those guys who he looks awesome when he's winning. Like he was completely battering Brian Battle in the first round, probably a 10-8. And then he gassed a little bit, got hit, doesn't like getting hit, and folded.
No. Which is a tough, tough thing when you're fighting.
Thing is, I think who is terrible. All these Chinese fighters are having a hard time in the UFC right now. I think Petrovsky,
I think
Petrovsky is going to be able to use his wrestling to win this fight.
Yeah, and Petrovsky is sitting at 8,600, and Hu Yaozong is 7,600. That brings us to our next fight: Makwan Amirkhani against Lerone Murphy, and Amirkhani is plus 250. Lerone Murphy is minus 310. And on DraftKings, he's looking at 9,300, and Amirkhani is 69.
This is one at first glance I wanted to take the dog in Makwan. I'm not so sure after watching tape.
I'm with you.
Just because Makwan is a great grappler. I'm pretty sure he's taken all his opponents down. Every single fight, he's gotten at least one takedown. The problem with him is he has a horrible gas tank. On the feet, he barely throws strikes. He kind of fell in love with his power. He had that one crazy knockout. I think it was a knee early in his career. And he fell in love with his striking a little bit. And he's not a great striker. And his cardio issues hurt him too, because he can't chain takedowns because he doesn't have the cardio to do it. Murphy is a decent wrestler. We saw that against someone fighting later on the card in Tukhugov. But Murphy's wrestling is a little bit underrated. He's also low output, but he'll be much better than Makwan on the feet. And if Makwan can't keep this fight on the ground, he's in trouble.
Lerone Murphy is kind of a can crusher. So this highly proficient in wrestling. But, Makwan's probably going to gas. Definite stay away. There's lots of better fights on the card out there. So, moving on.
Yeah, I won't be betting this one.
We have a close fight, at least on paper. Shamil Gamzatov at minus 135 against Mikhail Olajchuk. There we go. Thank God. These fucking... Yeah.
Olajchuk. Yep. Yeah, this is a real low-level fight, actually. Not a good fight. Shamil, he's 31. He is undefeated. He fought in the World Series of Fighting in PFL. And he won his first UFC fight via split decision. Yeah, he hasn't fought since 2019. He's had 4 fights canceled. I'm unsure why. His split decision, too, was against a guy who's no longer in the UFC. He's kind of a busted prospect in Klidson Abreu. Shamil, I just don't like him. I don't think he's good. He says he has a Sambo background, and he's a wrestler. Claims he's a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, except he never tries to get the fight to the ground. He never goes for takedowns. He's gun-shy, especially in that Klidson fight, and I don't know how he beat Klidson Abreu. I rewatched that whole fight. He lost. Klidson Abreu beat him. That was not a win. It was a clear win for Klidson Abreu, actually. Olajchuk's another guy who's not that good. He does have fast hands, and he's lost 2 in a row now to Jimmy Crute and OSP, both by sub. But those guys are both good. He rips to the body, and he rips to the body often. But he has a horrible gas tank. So it's kind of a guy who doesn't do much versus a guy who can't do much later in a fight. So
right.
Right. I'll take the dog.
Yeah.
Give me the dog and Olajchuk. There's not many dog spots I like on this card.
Shamil is 8,400 on
Olajchuk will be one that I'll take.
Olajchuk
it's more of a fade on Shamil. I don't think he's good.
Worth a look if you want someone for pretty cheap. And there's not too many dogs that I like this week, except for there's maybe a couple more. But there's a ton more fights out there. Next fight, Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos at minus 230 going up against Benoit Saint Denis plus 190. Let's see what we got here for DraftKings. Dos Santos is 8,500. Saint Denis is 7,700. Looks like still there, Kyle? Oh. I thought I was going to say, looks like you were frozen.
Yeah, I'm here. You said you were about to say something. Looks like what?
All right, go ahead.
Oh. I'm not frozen. I'm here. I was waiting with suspense there. Yes, I know. Zaleski dos Santos is a guy everyone knows. He's been around forever. And he's an up-and-down fighter. He's a striker with tons of power. He likes to throw flashy strikes. He throws them often, and they land often. Just ask your boy Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland got knocked the fuck out by Zaleski dos Santos. All his losses are to top 15 talent. He's coming off a split decision loss to Muslim Salikov in what was the fight of the night. Spinning techniques constantly from both fighters. And Benoit is a guy he's making his UFC debut. He's only been fighting mixed martial arts for 2 years. He's 8-0. He's former French Special Forces. And he says he's been doing judo since he was 8 years old. When he started in the Special Forces, he fell in love with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and kickboxing. And he's been competing in them, and then he started MMA where he fought 8 times in 2 years. So he's been active. He's a big, strong guy. He can bully his opponents. He says he fell in love with kickboxing. He's not great on the feet. He's still very green. He's much better in the clinch and on the ground. And throwing him against
that's a hell of a UFC
Santos,
debut.
I guess the UFC doesn't like Benoit. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah. Not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like Dos Santos here. I like him by knockout. From what I saw of Benoit's stand-up, I don't think he could hang with Dos Santos. I don't think he could hang, yeah. This is a huge step up. French MMA is not big. It hasn't been legal for very long over there. So I like Dos Santos. Give me the Brazilian.
Next up, we got two more Russians. Stop me if you've heard this before. More Russians fighting. Albert Duraev, minus 360, going up against Roman Kopylov. I think that's his name. Kopylov. Yeah. Plus 280.
Kopylov.
All right. Fucking these Russians, man. Duraev is 9,200. Kopylov is 7,000 even. What do you think, Kyle? Yeah. Easy.
Duraev is one of my locks of the night. He's going to be a parlay piece for sure. He's coming off Dana White Contender Series win where he won by, I think they officially gave it neck crank. It looked just like a rear naked. But he's excellent. He's one of those guys, if you look at his like social, he's got pics with like tons of cars. I think he's like maybe Russian mob connected. So he's not fighting for money, but he's just a freaking beast. He hasn't lost since 2014. He goes in there and he just throws you on the ground and chokes you out. He likes to choke guys. That's what he does. He now trains in Vegas full time. He's no longer trains in Russia. He's the main training partner for Sean Strickland. So training with a guy like Sean Strickland every day, you're going to get better, especially at stand-up where Durev's already a monster on the ground. And then Kopylov, he was a guy, he came in undefeated to the UFC. He was kind of someone who people thought was going to be good. And he came in against Carl Roberson and looked terrible. He got beat on the feet, and he even let Carl Roberson, a kickboxer, take him down and submit him. That's not good facing Durev.
Good fucking luck.
If you're going to let Roberson take you down, I guarantee you Albert Durev is going to take you down. Kopylov, someone I don't think is good. I don't think he'll be in the UFC very much longer. And Albert Durev won his Dana White Contender Series fight and called out Israel Adesanya. So
yeah.
I think he's here to stay. I like him a lot.
Crank.
I like him by sub too. That's a good prop.
Off.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have two guys that lost to Lerone Murphy and Ricardo Ramos and Zubaira Tukhugov. Ramos is plus 145 and Zubaira is minus 170. And we pull up the DraftKings. Ramos is 7,900 and Tukhugov is 8,300.
Yeah, this is another good one.
Yes.
This is actually a close fight. And this is another one where, first glance, I really wanted to take Ricardo Ramos. As I looked into it, Zubaira Tukhugov, he's pretty good. Yeah. He's another guy trains under Khabib. He did have a draw against Lerone Murphy and suffered a split decision loss to Hakeem Dawodu in his last fight. And this is actually Tukhugov is the guy who jumped the cage and punched Conor McGregor in the face.
Yep.
In the infamous brawl. So he's Khabib's boy. He's coming back off that suspension for that. And he's another, classic Russian, throws heat and can wrestle. He did struggle with the strength of Dawodu. He struggled to get him down. And he also struggles with his own weight cut. He's someone to watch on the scales because he does not always make weight. And because of that bad cut, he sometimes slows down later in fights. Ramos is kind of the opposite. He is very dominant striker. He throws crazy kicks, and and he's had some tough competition in the UFC, losing to Lerone Murphy and Saeed Nurmagomedov. He trains at a Team Alpha Male, so he is with wrestlers all the time. And in his last fight, he fought Bill Algeo, and he took him down 8 times. Bill Algeo is not a good wrestler. I don't expect Ricardo Ramos to have the wrestling edge against Zubaira. But one thing that I didn't like, and which made me not take Ricardo Ramos, is he was outstruck by Bill Algeo. In that fight, he won because of the wrestling, not because of the striking. And if exactly, so I'm taking Zubaira here. I like Zubaira.
Give me all of the
Russians. Give me the Russians. It would be interesting to see if we just took every Russian straight up. What your record would be at the end of the night. I'm sure it'd be good.
Agreed. All right, next up, we got another good one in Amanda Ribas going up against our girl, Verna Jandiroba. Amanda Ribas is the favorite at -160, and our girl Verna is +135. And she is, this is way closer on DraftKings. Ribas is 8,200, and Verna is 8K.
Yeah, and this is one where I think the UFC is rooting for Ribas here. If you watch her on like Embedded and all those shows, she has a great personality. She's like bubbly.
Definitely the more attractive fighter in this matchup.
Yeah. She's someone that the UFC could market behind, and she's 10-2. She is coming off a knockout loss to Marina Rodriguez, where we saw her win the first round against Marina with wrestling. Ribas does have good wrestling, good ground game, but in this fight, I think her edge is in the striking, where Verna is always improving her striking, but she did get outstruck by Mackenzie Dern. Can't forget that. Verna's only 2 losses, though, are to Mackenzie Dern and Carla Esparza, both by decision. So she's a beast. She's super strong. I think she'll have the wrestling edge in this, and she'll have the strength edge.
Yeah.
And she hits harder, and Ribas gets rocked.
Yep.
This is where I'm going to go with my
Verna's
second
last
dog
fight,
here.
She fucking broke that Japanese woman's arm. Let's not forget that either.
Yeah. Verna's a beast, and I can't wait to have a beer with her after the fight.
Yeah, main card.
That brings us to the main card, I think.
Magomed Ankalaev versus Volkan Oezdemir. That's what it is. These fucking names.
Oezdemir.
Ankalaev is -310. Oezdemir is +250. Let's see what we got here on DraftKings. Ankalaev, no shocker there, over 9K at 9,100. And Oezdemir is 7,100. Ankalaev, easy win?
Yeah, and
yes.
So easy. Ankalaev, in my opinion, might be the best light heavyweight in the world right now that John Jones is gone. If you put Ankalaev against either one of the Jan Blachowicz or Glover Teixeira, I'm taking Ankalaev. Yeah. I've never seen someone with as good a striking as Ankalaev.
Right.
He doesn't get hit. He's a sniper, basically. He's just a beast. Against Ian Kudalaba, Kudalaba says he was faking like he was hurt.
Yeah.
Dude, you were getting hit with bombs.
Trying to fool him.
Right. Yeah. And when Ankalaev doesn't feel like beating you on the feet anymore, he could take you down. His one loss is a freak loss.
That's the only way Paul Craig wins. Freak subs.
Paul Craig. Paul Craig, that was the biggest beatdown of the world up until he caught Ankalaev in a crazy sub. I don't think that happens. Like, I know Paul Craig's a great submission guy.
No.
I don't think that happens 9 out of 10 times. That was the one time out of 10. Ankalaev is too good on the ground for that to happen. And this isn't to say Volkan is a can or anything, because he's good and he's fought better competition.
Yeah.
But he's going up against a beast here.
He's diving headfirst into a wood
I don't think he has a shot.
Fight.
Yeah. And Magomed, another thing about him, he's so patient. So the under prop, I wouldn't necessarily try to hit that if it's under 1.5.
Right.
Because Magomed, he's not going to force it. If Oezdemir is going to lean back, Magomed will lean back. He knows he's better than you, so he doesn't have to force it. He's he's one of those guys, kind of like an Anderson Silva, you know.
All right,
exactly.
And next one is another easy one: Khamzat Chimaev versus Jingliang. Easy win for Khamzat here, coming off of long COVID. What do you think? Smishing.
Smeshing.
Yeah.
Khamzat, he's going to put on a show here. He wants to remind everyone of that hype.
Yes.
I mean, he was the most hyped fighter I've ever seen before he got COVID and retired. He's going to come in here. He's going to smash Lee. Poor Lee. I mean, he's pretty good, but he got wet blanketed by Neil Magny. You get wet blanketed by Neil Magny, you're going to sleep against Khamzat.
Easy dub.
Yeah, easy fight. I can't wait to watch
Khamzat
fight
is 9,500 and Jingliang is only 6,700. One of the more cheaper guys on the card tonight. Don't want to spend any more time on that. We got another good one up next. Alexander Volkov, -300, going up against not an easy out here in Marcin Tybura at +240. Volkov is 8,900. Tybura is 73. What do you think of the dog in this one? Because Tybura is a beast.
Yeah, so we've been kind of the Marcin Tybura whisperer here. I think we've won money on him in his last 5 fights, and he's won his last 5. Yeah. He's got massive power. He can knock you out. He throws that head kick.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to
for a guy of his size. He's massive. Right, Volkov's a little bit tall, but what Tybura's been using to win is wrestling. He wasn't using that early in his career, and he was losing. He decided, hey, I could wrestle. I'm a big dude. I could fucking take you down, and that's what he's been doing. Against Volkov, it will be tough because Volkov is massive as well. He's filled out that 6'7" frame.
Yeah,
and he's huge.
Volkov.
He's huge in the ring. He's got good footwork, good striking. Yeah, but I didn't like how he looked against Cyril Gane.
Most people look against Cyril Gane.
He didn't look good. That's true. That's very true. He has shown good takedown defense. Volkov has, except for that Blades fight where Blades broke the record for most takedowns. But Blades is a way better wrestler than Tybura. I mean, that's not close. And I was kind of thinking that Alexander Volkov was a world beater before that Cyril Gane fight. What he did to Alistair Overeem, I was like, holy shit, this guy might be legit. Ooh, and now looking back over his record, it's like, I don't know. Was he just beating chinny guys? I don't know. But this is a tough fight. Right. I'm definitely not. It's dog or pass, basically. I'm not taking Volkov. I don't see how people could be confident in that.
Same. Tybura
dog or pass nothing. For me.
All right. Next up, we have another great fight. Dan Hooker.
Oh yeah, here we go.
I think the biggest dog of the night at fucking +450, going up against the absolute assassin in Islam Makhachev.
Yeah, so it's a little crazy seeing Dan Hooker as the biggest dog, just because how good he is. That fight against Dustin Poirier, I mean, he almost beat Dustin. Everyone just remembers him getting put away by Michael Chandler. But, I mean, come on. That's Michael Chandler. He hits really hard. Dan Hooker is a good fighter. The only problem is he's fighting Islam Makhachev. For people who don't know, he's Khabib's boy. He's freakishly strong. And he's a smart fighter because he knows where he's good and he knows that's wrestling. And that's all he tries to do. He just drags you to the mat, and he smashes you. And he actually doesn't even really throw ground and pound all that much. Islam's more of a submission fighter, and he drags you to the ground. He brings you in that deep water, which Dan Hooker has the cardio. So it'll be interesting. But Islam seems like he's kind of like Khabib. He doesn't gas. He could wrestle all day. Dan Hooker has a shot. He can knock him out. But it's a small shot. I like Islam. I don't like it at the number, even for parlays. I think the line is just too wide.
Enjoy the fight.
DraftKings though,
is 9,600. That's doable. Yeah, I mean Khamzat is 95.
He's tied, but
you're getting a minus 200 more in juice you'd have to lay on Islam for only $100 more. That's value there. Nowhere else.
Right.
All right, next one, we have another absolute banger. Petr Yan at minus 220 going up against Cory Sandhagen, plus 180. And Petr Yan is 8,800, Sandhagen 74. Do you think Petr Yan knees him while he's down?
Did you see him practicing that on UFC Embedded? It was a joke, but he was practicing kneeing his opponent in the face while they were on the ground. Yeah. But this is one I've actually flip-flopped on a couple times.
Yes.
So Jan is a beast. We all know this. He's a master of sport over in Russia. His boxing is probably the best in the UFC. He's another one. Mm-hmm. He will sit back like he did against Aljamain. He will sit back and just pick you apart. He doesn't give a shit that you're coming forward. He knows he's better than you. Yeah. He kind of loses rounds one often. Just because I think he's a cardio machine. He knows that he'll break you, basically.
Yes.
And he rips to the body.
And Cory Sandhagen
like some of the best body shots I've ever seen.
Very long body. Very, very rippable body.
Yeah. He does. But I think if it's a straight stand-up fight, Cory is a tough out for Petr Yan. Cory takes great angles, and he throws hard shots. He did way more damage to Dillashaw than Dillashaw did to him. And Dillashaw, people were saying he's best in the world. So Cory's no joke. The only thing that makes me scared to take Cory is, what if Petr Yan says, it is a close stand-up fight. I'll just take him down. Petr Yan could go out and take him down right away, and we're all like, oh, shit. We should have bet on Petr Yan. He's the best fighter we've seen in a long time. Why didn't we bet on that?
I think this is definitely a tougher matchup for Petr Yan than Aljamain Sterling. And Petr Yan was kicking the absolute shit out of Aljamain before he went a little too far. Before he took things a little too far. Right. And,
we know how that fight's going to go.
And
Aljamain doesn't win that.
I think Cory's got a slight edge in the stand-up on this. I really do.
I would agree. I would agree. Cory, he has the volume because Petr Yan is very low volume, and Cory comes forward. We saw him eat Dillashaw's punches like it was nothing. Sandhagen is a beast on the feet. The only problem is that wrestling it, and Petr Yan can go there. I don't know if he will. He's stubborn. It's just a hard one to pick game theory wise. I totally get why people would bet Cory Sandhagen. But as of right this second, I'm leaning Petr Yan.
Just because Sandhagen has literally no answer if this goes to the ground.
None. Yeah, exactly. Exactly right.
All right.
If it goes to the ground,
that brings us to our main event. Jan Blachowicz is minus 300 against Glover Teixeira. Let's see what we got here for DraftKings. Blachowicz is 9K. Teixeira is 7,200. What do you think of the dog here? Yeah.
So I like it. And at first I was... So this is another weird one. First glance, I was like, Glover's my boy. I want to bet him, but I can't. because he's going to get knocked out here by Jan Blachowicz. But one podcast, I'll have to shout him out because it's such a good podcast. And he doesn't do it every week. He only does it for the big cards. It's MMA by the numbers. Not DFS by the numbers, MMA by the numbers. And he breaks down these fights pretty good. And he was pointing out that Jan Blachowicz does not have the power that everyone thinks he does. His knockdown rate is not very high. What he pointed out on that show was it's actually lower than both Petr Yan's and Cory Sandhagen's knockdown rate. Glover has been chin checked here recently and looked rocked. Somehow finds a way to come back. My initial thought was that has to come to an end at some point. He's gonna get knocked the fuck out. You know what I mean? How many times can you get cracked and come back like that? But this is going to be a close fight. Glover, if you've been watching Embedded and all those shows, he's in shape.
He's fucking
He knows this is his one shot, and he is fucking coming. Yeah, he's fucking coming for this shit. He's been training with Nogueira. They showed him working backstage with Nogueira, working his subs.
This is it.
And I think Glover knows he's going to have to go for a takedown. He's not going to want to stand with Jan.
Right.
He's going to go for a takedown. And if he gets it, I mean, Glover is a monster on the ground. A monster. What he did to Anthony Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, that beatdown was legendary. It's probably the worst
Anthony
beatdown
Smith
I've seen in UFC.
Turned his career around. He's like
and Anthony Smith has looked great
in the last year.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And Glover tooled him. So Glover's a beast, and look at Thiago Santos. Yeah. Thiago Santos just won his fight as well. I mean, Glover is a beast.
Right.
Jan Blachowicz beat Israel Adesanya, but he beat him with wrestling.
If he tries to go to
Can he beat Glover with wrestling? I don't think so.
Same.
Yeah. So this is another one, dog or pass for me. I don't love it because I do think that Glover could get knocked out. I mean, there's a real chance that this fight is over quick
I could
with Glover on his back, and we're all like, "Oh yeah, of course he got knocked out." Yeah. But you know what prop I did see?
8,000.
It was Glover by decision.
They're telling you something,
and it's plus 900. Plus 900. Yeah, I mean, Glover by decision. Both of these guys are super tough. So I don't think decision is out of the question for either guy. I like, if anything, I would like that one, one unit to win 9
I'm with you.
on Glover by decision.
100% dog or pass.
Yeah.
Blachowicz has been very good, but right.
Very good. Career resurgence. Again, he's very similar to Glover. They're like the same.
Right. Exactly.
Still would take Ankalaev.
I think the wrong guys are fighting here.
For real.
Right.
Yeah. Ankalaev doesn't have the names yet. He'll be there.
Yes, I was.
Yeah. Were you able to make a DraftKings team?
So we'll go from most expensive to least expensive. So the guy I reached for was Khamzat, easy win. Then I got Tukhugov at 8,300. Actually, I have Petr Yan at 8,800, so he's a little more expensive. And then we have Verna at 8,000. I did end up taking Marcin Tybura at 7,300. That's a good cheap play there. And how the fuck do you pronounce Olajaychuk? Yes, at 7,800.
Oh yeah, yep. I like it. Team I came up with is one of my strategies this week, and I'm going to come out with a separate newsletter for DraftKings this week just because this card is so awesome. And I actually haven't released our picks yet either. I'm waiting for weigh-ins for that. We need all the advantages we could get on a massive card like this. but the tape study notes and fight analysis is out. But my DraftKings team, I'm fading the top. Like your Chimaevs, your Islams. I think they're going to be Islam might be under-owned actually. So Islam might be somebody to take, but Chimaev is going to be owned by everybody, and if he doesn't score the most points on the slate, then he's not worth taking. So I'm taking Albert Duraev at 92. I then go down to Petrovsky, who I think might get overlooked, and he has that same wrestling edge that all these Russians do. So I like Petrovsky here. I like Zaleski dos Santos, Zaleski. I think he gets the finish. Another guy I think might get a finish is Zubaira Tukhugov, and I don't know how well owned he'll be. I think Ramos will actually be the higher owned fighter of that fight. I'm taking our girl Verna at 8,000, and my low fighter is Cory Sandhagen, 74. I think he will be high owned though, just because it's a 5-round fight. Most likely, he'll probably go to decision either way.
Right.
He might score you
I like
70
points
points
well,
in a loss. He's a fighter that has that kind of
on
output.
the opposite sides there. Well,
yeah.
I like the.
I'll have
taking
teams with Jan in it too.
Because
you got to go hard.
So
hard
many
with
more.
those.
2 extra rounds to score points. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah, it's huge.
Yep. All right, buddy.
All right. No, sign up for the email list as always.